Hey everybody, it's Levi and Ryan with the Refounding Fathers, and it's been a minute, but we're gonna come at you with some spit facts,
Yeah,
and mostly just our opinions because that's all that's left in this fallen nation is just radical viewpoints.
Yep. We're all a little tired. We're all a little tired of being sick and tired. But we're just trying to come together to make some fucking things better. Hopefully, our viewpoints can help other people see things. Maybe not in our line of thought, but we'd like to hopefully straighten some things out for people, or at least make people think in a different direction.
Yeah. So to start this off, let's do a COVID-19 recap and compare it to, what we thought was going to happen.
I think it's safe to say that we had different opinions depending on, not us two, but we had different opinions based on what time period during the coronavirus we were in.
Right.
But I think we held those two opinions kind of to the same extent. We held both opinions at the same time. It was either, this is going to be the fucking end of us because this is way worse than anyone is reporting, or it's literally nothing important whatsoever and it'll all blow over. Yeah. It's not worth our rights being crushed over it, or it's literally so bad that no one is reporting on it.
Yeah, so when I heard about coronavirus hitting Wuhan, I was like, okay, this might be something. And everyone's like, oh yeah, it's never going to hit America because this is an outbreak, and it legitimately started in October. It didn't start getting reported by American media until November, and then in December it was a full outbreak. And everyone's like, oh, close your eyes, can't happen here. And then, a month and a half later, people started testing positive for it. What I think happened is that COVID-19 was in the U.S. most of that time frame. I think it was in the United States at the very least November of 2019. So, if it's been in the country since 2019 and we just now started testing for it in 2020, obviously it will spread to more people. There was a long time frame for people to get it. We don't have good tests for it, so we're testing for antibodies. Has this person ever had it? Oh, this person has had it. We'll put them under the positive list. All of the statistics got overblown, so they could do their weird New World Order test run. This was them practicing to see how much freedom they could take away without having violent repercussions.
And you can say something along the lines of, oh, well, why would everyone just report false numbers? Why would everyone play into this game? The whole world's not against you. You're being paranoid, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. It doesn't come down to the whole world's in on this big fucking game. They're all trying to fucking get you, okay? That's what people are going to try and sell you to make you feel like, oh, obviously I'm being weird or paranoid or whatever. You know why every hospital in the whole fucking world reports high numbers? They do it because it makes them money. Someone that I know in the medical field, who is a first responder, has told me that literally every call they run is considered a COVID call because it makes their hospital more money. Not because they can charge more for it, but because the government gives them fucking money based on the number of COVID calls they run a month. So yeah, you could say, oh, the whole world's not against you. Yeah, sure, the whole world's not against you. They're all just for them fucking selves. So every hospital who has money that can be made, everyone who can report more COVID calls, more COVID deaths, hey, this guy with cancer died of COVID. Anyone who can report that will, because it gets them fucking free money. We have a very abusable system. And all I'm saying is the system is being abused. And everyone's like, you're paranoid. Well, what have literally every conservative in the entire world been complaining about when it comes to welfare and all this other shit? Oh, it's being abused. You don't think the fucking medical system can abuse the same fucking money? It's happening. And they used the same numbers that these people were reporting to get more money to convince everyone into a panic mode.
Yeah, it doesn't take a bunch of woke minions to keep a lie secret. It just takes a select group of people who are in the know, who are extremely intelligent, and have a lot of money and resources to play it off as this is normal, you get money from this, just do this, you in the long term have benefit from it. It's very easy for them to convince people to do that. Which is why there isn't a mass outrage of nurses going, oh, well, I don't want to write this person down as COVID positive. We didn't even test them. They just have symptoms. They're just having trouble breathing. That could be a number of things.
Yeah.
That could be a common cold.
This person that I was talking about in the medical field has the majority of his professional life in the medical field. So he's not going to risk his job by speaking out and getting himself fucked and no longer having a job to, provide. So obviously he's not going to say anything about it. He's not going to call them out by name, and he's not going to be the name behind calling them out. But, you've got to think, this guy, he's got a reason to not say shit, because he will get fucked if he does it. But he's also not out there not providing aid. There's a lot at risk here. Do you expect people to fucking kill? He'll tell people. He told me. He's told several people. I think it's all bullshit. I know it's all bullshit. This is what's happening, blah, 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 this, that, or the other. But they don't take it, the medical field isn't taking it any more seriously. It's not like, oh, it's a COVID call, everyone, hands on deck, blah, 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 this, that, or the other, masks up. No, it's literally, they run it like every other call. Because almost every call is labeled as such. It's not some big, huge, massive conspiracy. It's literally just everyone trying to fucking survive, so they're not going to sell out their employer and lose employment.
Yeah, and, speaking of, Snowden just did a second podcast with Joe Rogan. We have a serious problem with how we treat whistleblowers in this country. From the highest level of the federal government and the NSA, down to, oh, your boss did something wrong. Yeah, he did something wrong, but you're fired for it because you made our company look bad.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 examples. Someone that I've worked for has literally recently asked me to lie about a charitable giving. I'm not going to go into the details and fuck myself, like I said. But I have been asked to lie to people because, oh yeah, if you say you round up the money given on an exchange and say it's for charitable giving, no one will question it, right? Oh, it's for charity, blah, blah, blah. He literally told us not to tell them what it's going towards. And then when I was told what it was going towards, I lost interest entirely. It's fucking ridiculous, the level of trickery, even at charity. Even my boss telling me to try and get money for charity is going for. Now, the other example that I was going to give, someone that I've worked with, literally before going to work for an animal shelter, had to sign a waiver saying that they would not give out any information as to what happens inside of the shelter. It's an animal shelter. First off, people give way too much shit about animals. You need to fucking cool your goddamn jets. There's people out there getting abortions, so putting a dog down shouldn't be a problem. But if these dogs are being fucking abused or blah, 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 or whatever, you shouldn't be able to fire an employee because he told the truth about what was happening. That's fucked up. That's deceptive. That's punishing someone for being honest about deception, which is sinful as shit. I don't care what group you subscribe to, deception is not good for humanity. But that's just That's fuckery. First off, all you like super mega animal people who don't give a shit about abortion, but are like, oh, you can't euthanize a dog. You can go fuck yourselves. But also all you people on the opposite side of the front who are like, oh, I don't fucking give a shit about anything, and whatever, you should punish that person for telling people about what was going on in this animal clinic or this animal shelter. No. That's just deceptive. If I cannot tell people the conditions in which I work in to the public, then there's a problem. That means your entire business or your entire government or whoever is telling you you are not allowed to speak is operating under deceptive means, and that is it's fucked up.
Non-disclosure agreements are one of the catalysts of the American West into complete wickedness.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And even if we didn't have NDAs, they'd still hit us with, oh, we're a right to work state. You did this, and we can't legally fire you because you violated our terms of service or our NDA legally. We can't fire you because you spoke the truth about this. Well, we can look for other things to fire you for.
But we're a right to work state, so we can literally fire you for goddamn near anything.
Exactly.
So we'll just get rid of you and say, oh, it was because of this, not because of this.
He's a bad worker. Blah blah blah. Yeah. There's not a good answer for any of this.
Honestly, I think there is an awesome answer for all of this. Call out deception and wickedness where you see it, and everyone who sees it, and it is provable deception and wickedness, punish those people for it. America is the absolute worst at boycotting.
Yeah.
I mean, I try, but I'm still not the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
But when a company does something fucked up, you need to punish them for it. Dude, I mean, I'm not a fucking commie, but I think Amazon is a sweatshop.
Yeah.
And I think they have shitty business practices. I don't shop with Amazon. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. For some reason, every time I access Amazon, it feels like their servers are running on potato batteries. That's another big turnoff to me. For some reason, they have the slowest servers of any fucking company online that I've ever used. But that, on top of the fact that that is a shitty fucking business model that treats their employees like shit, fuck yeah, I'm not going to buy with them. I don't remember the last time I bought something from Amazon was when I was in Afghanistan, and they were the only fucking company that provided anything to us. They were the only company that could order something and it show up in another fucking country. That is the only reason I went with Amazon. I don't buy from them anymore. I don't search through them anymore. They've cut back on most gun-related things as well. So they're very anti-Second Amendment. They might sell accessories and stuff like that, but they don't. They try and keep it as low-key as possible. I'm not fucking with them anymore.
Did I tell you that I had something removed from Facebook Marketplace for violating the weapons terms of service?
What was it?
It was a night vision scope. I filed
that was recent as shit, wasn't it?
I filed an appeal with it as well. So a human saw this device that lets you see night vision that can't attach to a rail of a rifle. Can't. And it was like, no, this is a weapon.
Yeah. That might actually be an awesome segue into another point. What do we write the point down to say?
Weapons? No, just how the firearms market is dying.
The firearms market is overrun. And hear me out on this, because I work inside the firearms market. So this is a lot of what's going on. The market is not saturated. The market is dry compared to the supply is dry compared to the demand. Everyone in the whole fucking world and their brother and their cousin wants a fucking gun, okay? They also want attachments. They want red dots, scopes, they want beams, lasers, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? We like to joke about this shit because we hear some weird stuff, but they want everything. They want all the things that normally people were not looking for prior to.
Consumerist ideology taking hold at the worst time.
Yeah. So all of this is going down. Supply is not meeting demand. However, after this election, depending on how the election goes, no business is willing to ramp up production. They're not going to expand. Because even if they expand, all they'll do is buy shit tons of equipment to make them money for the next 3 or 4 months. You know, like as soon as the fucking presidential election happens, what if Biden wins? If Biden wins, you're going to end up selling half of your shit. Half of the shit or all of the shit you just bought and half of the shit you had prior. Because the market will dry up. Because laws and stuff like that will make this harder to get, harder to obtain, so the market will die. So your supply will be more than demand, and you'll end up making a net loss on it. So people aren't trying to expand. They're just continuing to supply at the same rate prior to coronavirus and riots and all that other horseshit, even though demand is through the fucking roof. So go check your 9mm prices right now online. What is the cheapest you can find 1,000 rounds of 9mm for? Because what I'm finding it for, 53 cents a round, 56 cents a round, 5.56, 62, 64, 70 cents a round. This might not come back. What you have right now in terms of gear, in terms of kit, in terms of weapons, in terms of supply, ammunition, fucking... I don't even know how deep this might end up going. How many knives do you have? Are they good quality knives? Are they utility? Can you use them for multiple things? Everything. I'm talking about everything under the fucking sun that could be considered weaponry, could be considered kit, could be considered medical equipment. Whatever. All of the shit people have started buying recently that wasn't as high demand previously, you don't know if this market is ever going to resurface.
And people talk about, oh, well, I saw this happen back in the Obama administration. I saw this happen after Newtown, after, 1994. And, they banned assault weapons, but they all came back. They came back, but the government never gives up power. They prove to themselves they do have the power to ban assault weapons, quote unquote. And there wasn't retaliation. No one did anything. So they
might have had like one McVeigh, but that was it.
And they realized, oh hey,
let's add that to the next list.
We can do this without violent retaliation. So eventually, we can do this for real. We can get all of them. Now, the gun culture has shifted recently, and I agree with that. Instead of the 1994 NRA, hunting focus, we've moved away from the NRA. We moved away from, for the most part, from the old futtery mindset. But unless people actually act, this isn't going to last long.
And it might mean nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you were there the other day. There was an old guy came to buy a gun. And I was talking to him. And new store policy, that second cheap shit.
Yeah.
I was fucking shuffling paperwork. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was actually getting a little stressed out, and I think he could see it. And I looked at him and I said, when was the first gun you bought? How long ago was the first time you bought a gun? And he said, this man, his birthday was in the 40s.
Yeah.
Okay? It was fucking minute. No. 49. Okay? So, like, just after fucking World War II. And, I had asked him, I was like, when was the first time you bought a gun? He said, I bought a gun when I was 11. He said,
so that was
I might have been 9 or 11.
That was before background checks.
And I asked him, I did, because this was important. I was frustrated, so I was trying to get a little confirmation of my frustration. I said, "Yeah, that was before all this weird shit, right? All the paperwork, all this and that." And he goes, "Yeah, I don't think I was even quote unquote legally allowed to, but no one gave a shit. I ain't never hurt nobody." And I said, "When did this start? When did it start frustrating you? Did you come buy a gun and it made you mad?" And he goes, "Got to do what you got to do." And I got so fucking mad. I felt like I was shut down. I felt like I couldn't even connect with the people who had it better than us. The time that I long for, I can't even connect with those people because they don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to them that suddenly now it's a shit ton of paperwork, it's a shit ton of process, and the government fucking weaseled their way into everything that was ever easy, controlled every aspect of their life. I brought it up to this guy, and he didn't give a fuck. He's like, "Yeah, I mean, whatever. All I gotta do paperwork and this and that." Like, that was the same generation that should have been fighting for their rights when this shit happened. Yeah. But they didn't care. And that was the perfect example of it. That's all I needed in my mind to solidify. This is why we are where we are at. Because when it happened, nobody stood up. Everyone said, "No, whatever. I mean, I'm not a criminal, so I don't care if I get inconvenienced along the way of pursuing my rights. Because I'll get it eventually, right? Like, whatever." No, that's not the fucking point. They have completely missed the whole point of the Second Amendment.
Because it's not. Because they were raised in a generation that was drastically, like, private and homeschooling is much bigger in our generation than it was back in the baby boomer generation. Like, yeah, you had your farmers and those people and all that, and they were homeschooled, but during that generation there was a lot of government education because post World War II everyone was like, yeah, the government's a good thing. They just beat Hitler, blah blah blah. Let's just send their kid to school.
They just prove they're looking out for us.
Yeah. What does public education teach?
Oh, what does public education teach?
Public education is the Hitler Youth of the United States, except it's like a worse Hitler Youth because it's not a special program. Everyone gets into it by just existing. The Hitler Youth had some qualifiers you had to meet. I'm not saying the Hitler Youth were a good thing. It was absolutely an indoctrination camp for young kids. But you had to meet a criteria. You had to be...
So they only reached a group.
Yes.
It wasn't everybody.
Whereas
now they reach everyone.
Exactly. What better way to spur a population into not caring or being complacent with their rights? Don't teach them about their rights. Teach them, oh yeah, this is the Constitution. Some guys wrote this back in the 1700s, and now we have laws about
and they teach it like, oh, they were wrong.
Yeah.
They teach it like they were wrong, and that's why we had to adjust it. That's why we had to fix these things. No. They weren't wrong. The people who came after them were wrong and misinterpreted it, and that's why. Slavery under the Constitution, slavery shouldn't have existed. Under the Constitution as it was originally written, slavery should not have existed.
Yeah.
That was just a misinterpretation of it.
Yeah.
But it's other things like that. It's like everyone misinterprets it. Everyone reads...
Everyone reads it with a bias.
Yeah. And, I mean, I can understand that. I've got a bias. And that's the whole point of a bias. It's hard to tell that you've got it. But... This is the world that I've been fighting with recently. I'm teetering on the edge of authoritarianism and libertarianism. And whichever way I teeter far enough to fall, I'm probably going to go balls deep in it. I have seen so much fucking stupid shit on both sides that whichever way I fall, I'm going to go headlong. I'm going to be like, you know what? This country was founded on freedom. I don't give a shit about safety, security. I don't give a fuck about anything. This country was founded on the basis of freedom, and I will dive headlong into freedom until the day I die, regardless of if freedom is what kills me. On the other end, I've looked around and I've said, fucking hell. You people abused freedom. It's not all of you, but you people abuse freedom to the point where no one fucking deserves it anymore. And it's become a rough field to deal with. And I think freedom is the fucking way to go. I really still do, but I've really been struggling with it recently.
Yeah.
Because I have seen it time and time again, people fucking abusing freedom. Freedom requires sacrifice, and that your intentions and your direction mean something for the good. And I've seen so many of you goddamn fucking imbeciles be shitty human beings for yourselves that it's really hard for me to side with freedom. It's become a genuine struggle, and it's because you fucking shitheads that can't fucking manage anymore. I'll fuck this guy over on purpose. It's like, it requires virtue. If you have no virtue, I cannot side with you.
And I agree and disagree. If you have no virtue, I have no reason to give you freedom, because the human inclination is to the bad. My belief is that I don't believe that the government follows culture. I think there are parts of the government that can follow culture, but I believe that most things are pushed by government. What destroyed American virtue? Was it growing up on a farm with mom and pop teaching you this is how you plant crops, this is how you be a good human being, this is a good idea for the person you should marry, this religious sect will bring you the existential dread that you have from just existing down to a point where you can manage day-to-day life? Or was it government mandated education destroying our value system to where they can control, indoctrinate, and subvert those ideologies, turning us to the point where, strong Christian men who have the ability to do heroin, who have the ability to get addicted to laudanum and completely fuck up their lives and be a degenerate piece of filth, to turn people who could have potentially gone the righteous or the unrighteous path to a path of morality and immorality don't matter. All that matters is a mixture of our weird authoritarian socialist government that you should benefit no matter what the cost. I think the education deprived morality because it was authoritarian education. If you don't get this education, or at least an education the government approves of, then you don't get to go into higher education, which is a whole other issue. But the government gives, or has the power to check yes or check no on whether you get to go to college, basically.
Yeah.
Yes or no, does this person have a high school diploma? And if we don't agree that you've been indoctrinated, if we don't agree that you have the values that will benefit us, if we don't agree that you have the values that we think will lead you into a mass of sheeple and is selfish, doesn't agree with postmodern ideologies, we have absolutely every right to say you are not an educated person.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that today in conversation. Yeah. There are two programs at a certain trade college. They deem themselves like a trade school kind of thing, and you can get the certificate that says, I'm a worker, I am certified to work for you, or you can put up with 30 more credit hours of general education to get the associate's degree. Well, what do people look for nowadays when they're hiring people? They look for
degrees, which a degree is defined by core education, which core education is literally indoctrination.
And I'm going to call you out right now, Ryder. When I was working there, the last manager that I had, he was the last manager in Ryder who was going to be allowed to be a manager without a degree in college.
Wow.
He was the last one in the state of Georgia, and Georgia was late to that train too. Most states had already transferred, or most regions had already transferred over to that idea. So, the problem that I'm talking about is, you can get this certificate without this general education thing, and you can be a worker, you can be a peon, you can be guided by someone who had the college education, but you can't be the guider, okay? The problem that is faced is, we're not going to hire you as a manager. We're not going to hire you as a leader unless you have a college degree. The difference between this is stupid. I know plenty of people with common sense and business sense. My fucking dad never went to college at all. Worked his way from the fucking bottom up. And was 3 levels fucking above my manager, right? On that fucking playing field. Like, nowadays, he fucking travels from state to state to state to train managers on how to conduct new business. No fucking college education. All experience. Judged not on his certificates, judged not on his college education, judged on his ability. Hey, I proved I could do this thing. Now, it doesn't matter. If you can do that thing, I don't give a shit unless you've got a degree to back it up. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, no, you didn't go to the indoctrination center? Well, we can't let you be a leader because you're not indoctrinated. There's no way that you can't look at that and say that this isn't problematic. Because there is some kind of, massively hierarchical group that is determining what gets to be a part of that group. You're already, I went to a college, the house the dean lived in, and she was a fucking moron. Inclusion and this or that was more important than anything else. And she was the fucking idiot who got to determine shit for other people. It's become fucking ridiculous. And that's, if you don't believe that college is an indoctrination station, then you don't understand. They want the working class, like I was saying. They want the working class. Oh yeah, you know what? You paid the extra money. You're a part of the upper working class. You can get the certificate, and you can be a part of the upper working class, but you will not be a leader under our rule, unless you become indoctrinated by us. Leadership is only determined by your beliefs, and if we do not dictate your beliefs, you are not allowed a part of it.
The dichotomy shifted. Originally, college was designed as a place to teach people how to think. A place for ideas. And the working class tended to be the people who, just kind of followed along, just did their thing. Traditionally with lower IQ people, which is how we got the Industrial Revolution. We had a bunch of, even though they were a bunch of, I hate to say this, greedy capitalists who capitalize on other people's suffering. That's just the way of the world. There's always going to be poor, there's always going to be needy, there's always going to be abused people. And I hate it, but that's just the way it is. But it shifted. I think that a lot of hardworking people in the lower classes who do work those hard jobs, who don't have those degrees, those are starting to tend to be, those people are so written down and beaten up by society for not having this check mark crossed off that they tend to be more free thinking. than the college students, than the graduates. And there's a good study, I forget who it was by, but they proved that the longer women are in college, the more indoctrinated they are, the more left-wing they are, the less they think for themselves. It's just the perfect example of higher education has become, and I thoroughly believe this because of state, because the state determines what higher education is now.
And funds it.
And funds it and controls it. You know, University of North Carolina, well, that's a state school. How does it get statehood? How is it the state school? It's controlled by the state. They want you to go to high school. They want you to graduate from college. They want you to get your master's degree, because the longer they have you in their little net of nitpicking socialist fucking Marxist ideologies, the more twisted they can make yours. Even if you grew up on that farm, oh wow, look at these people. Look at all these amazing people. I grew up on this farm, but now I'm getting here and I'm getting laid and we're smoking weed and yeah, fuck my parents. Yeah.
Or think of it this way. Why do you think a bunch of rural, not even always rural, but just small-time community colleges and unstate-controlled colleges, credits don't transfer to other places?
Yep.
Because they don't abide by the curriculum of the state. When you get to their class, they don't say you're indoctrinated enough for the next fucking level. They say, whoa, we've got to walk people into this. You can't just be exposed to full level horseshit.
Yeah.
You've got to be slowly ingrained with it. It's the mentality of the ever-moldable, or the what is it, ever-moldable or eternally moldable man? That's the whole fucking mentality of communism. If we can fucking ingrain it, if we can slowly build you to it, you will be what we need you to be. Regardless of the task, we can slowly mold you into it. That's why, I know this kind of sounds like the same argument everyone has with communism, but that's why I tell people this isn't real capitalism. Because it's not.
Oh, America?
Because capitalism is free market. Well, the market isn't free. It's fucking entirely controlled. I can kind of understand what people say, like, oh, okay, well, yeah, this isn't real capitalism. Well, we were very much more capitalist prior to, and the bastards, the fucking heads of these companies paid money to the fucking government to enforce the policies they wanted. So yeah, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe 100% capitalism doesn't work because some fucking cunt asshole will get to the top of a company and pay the government to make bills, or create bills and laws and all this other shit to create communism, or to create socialism, or to create a governed market. I can understand you on that one. I think we gave capitalism one of the best shots that it's had in a very long time, and I think it has led to a failure. I think there is somewhere closer to capitalism than it is socialism that will be way better than this. But you can't look me in the eyes and tell me that we're not controlled. You can't look me in the eyes and say that this is capitalism. This isn't capitalism. This was capitalism that was taken over by fucking asshat megalomaniac pieces of shit like Jeff Bezos and created a dystopian world.
I think capitalism works if lobbying, well, that's not really something, if lobbying is abolished.
Capitalism is a type of market.
I understand. If lobbying is illegal, if a group of people, if a business cannot donate money to the government, to the left, to the right, if it's illegal for them to do that, then it's extremely difficult for them to push bills through.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Capitalism is a type of market. It's not a government.
No, I understand.
And that's where people get fucking confused. Or people confuse the situation. capitalism isn't a government. We are a republic. We aren't a capitalist nation. We're a republic
The
nation.
government has no control over the market. In theory.
In theory. The problem is, we have lackadaisically stood around while the government controlled the market. We have created what is not true capitalism. I think we're kind of going off on a tangent here. I'm going to go take a piss because this whole thing started off with gear and that what you have is what you're going to have. But, okay, you want to keep going, I'm going to take a piss. We'll change the subject when I get back.
Anyway, the question that started, not even the question, the whole conversation that started this rant was that whatever gear, whatever guns, whatever ability you had to protect, defend, or quote unquote be offensive may not be available anymore. Like, what you have may be it. Me and Ryan both work in the gun community, and the market's flooding. And I don't think this is going to be an Obama situation where, oh yeah, we had a gun scare, but, you know, there wasn't a Republican in office, so the Republicans stood hard against something. When Obama was in office, the Republicans stood hard against everything he said because he was a Democrat. We have Trump in office now. He already banned bump stocks. He gave the ATF even more power. He gave the ATF to decide what was considered a fire rate reducing or improving device, which could be anything from a bump stock to a crankshaft to Jerry Miculek's fingers
to a belt loop, because based on the way the opinion letter and the laws are written, if you rapid fire based on your finger through a belt loop, technically you have used another piece of equipment to improve your rate of fire. That could... I'm not saying this is what they're doing, I'm saying this is what they can easily manipulate it to. You could legally go to jail for that shit.
Yeah. And people were getting hit in 2016 or 17 for shouldering braces. People were getting hit for that. Thankfully, we're living in a time right now where that's not necessarily enforced because the ATF kind of went back and was like, okay, this is our official stance. We can't get at you for you misinterpreting a device's use, which I appreciate that, but the entire ATF is the most unconstitutional organization that's ever existed. Them and the DEA. Anyway, I think James Yeager was right. Back in 2016, after Trump got elected, he said, "This is the last golden age for gun owners. This is the last time ammo is going to be 17 cents around for 5.56. This is the last time you're going to be able to get stuff at decent prices without long wait times because, you know, the man's been through a lot. He's seen a lot of crazy shit happen with the gun market because he lives it. He has lived it for a long time. And as far as I can tell, none of his predictions have been wrong. Not to put my entire belief in, you know,
one man.
Yeah. But nothing he's ever said about the gun market has been wrong. But the manufacturers are backed up. George Soros owned company just bought Marlin. What does that mean? That means that company's done. That company's not going to sell firearms anymore, or eventually will stop producing firearms.
What does that mean? There's 4 companies now?
Something like that. And if I'm getting my facts wrong, I'm sorry, but I know he's actively buying gun companies that are going under. Remington is about to be bought out by Dick's. Not Dick's. Bass Pro Shop.
Companies that have not been problematic are becoming problematic because they're seeing the death of others around them and they are trying to buy their periodic freedom. Springfield.
Yeah, Springfield Armory.
Do not get me started on Springfield. These people sold everybody out.
Because it benefited them.
Because it benefited them. Because they would continue to make... They saved themselves. They fucking paid their soul. They paid their defense. The thing that will keep them alive. They paid everything that would keep them alive. The eternity of their ability to stay relevant in the market. They traded that for everyone's rights. Every other company's rights in that state. They said, fuck y'all. Fuck everyone. We are going to make sure we survive. I don't care if this kills the gun market. I don't care if this hurts other people. I don't care if this hurts your rights. We will survive through it. That is fucked. They were focused on themselves. They have turned their back on the Second Amendment in focus of their short-term survival.
Yep.
And they will die out because of it.
Yep.
They might, for all I know, they might survive longer than any other gun company because they showed, they paid penance to the people who were going to kill them. So sure, you know what? In 6 years, when they're the only company around still selling, you can laugh and point your fingers and say, ha ha, you were wrong. Well, in 10 years, when there's nothing left, you'll understand.
I mean, look at SIG. SIG is one of my least favorite firearm companies. They just found a way to survive. Not that SIG was doing bad, but SIG treats their customers as their test subjects. You had a... What did you have? You had the...
P320.
P320, yeah.
Now, albeit, it was in 40 cal.
That wasn't the problem.
It might have been part of the problem.
Well,
but even a 40 cal Glock works well compared to other Glocks. Or, I mean, compared to other 40 cals.
They use their customers as their test subjects, and when a gun comes back is overwhelmingly bad, they're like, oh, okay, we'll do a recall. And, you know, if A plus X plus B doesn't equal the cost of a recall, we don't do one kind of shit.
Yeah.
But now SIG is established as the military's gun. Only SIG can make ammo for the military now. Because they own...
Oh, we want to get into this one.
I just want a brief overview. I want to
okay, because I can probably do a podcast on this.
Oh, no, I agree. And I just want to briefly explain why this can be manipulated. And let's say this is so outside the realm of reality, but it gives me a good example. What if SIG buys the patent of 5.56? SIG contracts the military, they make all the military ammunition for the new military weapons, but, you know, the CIA wants to do some shady shit in South America and wants to give South Americans our old guns. Well, SIG can buy, in theory, the patent of 5.56 ammo. Now what do they own? They own all the 5.56 ammunition that's ever produced in the United States. Boom. Now you have no more ammo left. Now the ammo that you have is what you have. It's a long shot.
Now, we have the opposite problem. 5.56 is the military ammunition. It is NATO, okay? That is the reason it is abundant. Because the biggest fucking buyer of it is the U.S. government. Including the firearms. The biggest fucking buyer of firearms in 5.56 is the U.S. government. There ain't anyone in the world who buys more of a percentage than they do. So, that's why that exists. That's why that's popular. That's why that's cheap. Okay, well, someone's not super happy about that, so, let's sell the contract to some guy that I know who has some high stocks in SIG or something or other. We're going to give SIG the squad automatic weapon, the equivalent of the 240 Bravo, and the combat rifle. And they're going to be the sole producers of ammo. Okay, so not only is that horrible for the military, because SIG is going to be the sole producers of ammo, what happens if something happens to SIG? What happens if there's a problem? That's why 5.56 is what it is. It's because you can fucking buy it from any company. Every company in the world is making it. Every company in the world is making ARs. It is super fucking popular. It is effective. And the velocity is what's important. I'm not even going to get to the Joe level when it comes to using a modified 6.8 special, because we're talking about people who scored 32s on their ASVAB. You can put 2 and 2 together. I used to shoot down targets for people in the Army so that they could pass their fucking qualifications, okay, when it comes to rifle marksmanship. So don't say, oh, so they could be more accurate and effective out at distance. They can't be accurate and effective within the distance the round should be accurate and effective with. Try doubling or tripling that measure. Yeah, like I said, you're talking about fucking dumbass retards holding guns. They're not going to be good with them. Quit trying to stretch their ability. Their ability is stuck by their ability. Their ability, not the guns.
I was just using that as an example. Yes, that is the accurate representation of the whole 5.56 6.8 special.
It's a modified 6.8 special. It's not even 6.8 special. It is a patented 6.8 special.
I was just drawing an example.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
SIG.
There's literally nothing more retarded than what the military is doing, and you know what? I will let them suffer for it. I will gladly not go into the massive details, because you know what? Fuck you. You want to die in levels that is absolutely ridiculous in warfare with other countries because you can't make a good decision and you're going to sell your contracts to people to make money? Go ahead. Go the fuck ahead. I will rejoice at the corruption at your level killing people.
So here's what I'm saying. Private companies are beginning to dominate the marketplace and specifically selling to the government. Smaller private companies are selling out to multi-billionaire people who control not only marketplaces, but a lot of politicians like Soros. And in general, entire political movements are sprouting and are getting into the high percentages of, 51% of Americans want to throw away your gun, get rid of your guns, which isn't a real percentage, but just throwing it out there. There are so many things working against quote unquote law-abiding gun owners that we don't get away from this. Eventually, this is all going to come to a head. We can postpone it. We can say, oh yeah, I'll just vote the gun ban until 4 years from now so I can see my kids grow up that much longer. But eventually, this is going to happen. There is going to be a point when there's an assault weapons ban, when there's an ammo ban, when there's a magazine ban. There's going to be something that is mandated either through government law or through our socialist, capitalist abortion of a marketplace that makes it to where you can't get something that you could defend your life and your liberty with. It's either going to happen in the selection cycle, it may happen in between this selection cycle and next selection cycle, but eventually it's going to happen. Is it our fight or is it our kids? Is it our grandkids?
The question really is, are you so complacent to not stand up for what you believe in, or would you rather your children suffer to fight for it? Are you weak-willed enough to let someone else fight the fight you should have, or will you buck up? And I know the answer. I really do. I am very confident that I know the answer. Because I am more than sure that I will live my life without seeing what needs to be done. And it is the most disheartening thing in the world to know that everyone will sit around and do nothing. And it weighs on the soul like nothing else. But I'll be 83 with fucking cancer, dying in a ward somewhere, looking around going, I can't believe I couldn't fucking get someone to stand with me. And all of y'all would have been that someone that could have fucking done literally anything. Literally anything more than just slow the decline to pass the buck to your children, who will suffer far more greatly than you can imagine for it. We all like to pit fucking boomers and Gen X and everyone on having a fucking easy ride and their life was easy and holy shit, the economy was great, gas was fucking 30 cents a gallon. Fuck y'all if you don't realize that gas will be $30 a gallon before you pass. That you will look around and say, holy shit, I can't imagine how much... we walked uphill both ways in the snow, but, gas was $2.50 a gallon. The worst it was in my life was $4, and that was fucking miserable, right? How the fuck are they gonna buy ammo? How the fuck will they afford weapons when the tax is $600 for a normal semi-automatic? And that's only if you can justify the reason, because you've got hogs on your property that are making it impossible to grow crops. How will you justify your life when the generations after you are dying? I know the answer to it, because you will fucking hamster your way into thinking something up. And you will tell it to my face now, and I'll hate you for it later. This isn't defeatism, this is me fucking understanding how y'all are, and if you don't fucking buck up now, there's gonna be some problems.
That was pretty heavy.
It's always fucking heavy. You wanna talk about selection?
Yeah, we got a few minutes left.
Okay.
So, selection predictions. 50-50. I don't believe that we live in a country where voting actually matters anymore. I don't think it's mattered for a long time. I think things are manipulated to the point where our president is selected and not elected. I believe that Trump was allowed to become President of the United States because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein. Because Epstein's job was to get blackmail on politicians and people in Hollywood, rich billionaires, millionaires, people of power. I don't think Trump was elected because of some, crazy miracle. I think Trump was elected or selected because Epstein had dirt on him. He was easily manipulated, which would explain why he's gone back on a lot of his views. And that the shadow government, whatever, saw that Americans were getting very upset with how left-leaning we were becoming, and they wanted something radical to throw in to the Bush, Clinton, Obama era in order to not slow the collapse, but to slow the average red-hearted person's understanding of what was going on. I think they threw him in there as just be more right-wing than everyone that's come before you for the past 20, 30 years. We'll call him the next Reagan.
As if Reagan was fucking good for us.
Right.
But that's exactly who he's been. He
yeah.
has been the next Reagan.
Yeah.
oh yeah, awesome for the economy. Every fucking person who ever saw hardship in their life will be like, oh, so good for the economy, and it's the only thing that fucking matters to them.
It's all about money.
Yeah, that's all it ends up coming down to. But, how's he been for rights? How's he been for literally anything but the economy?
He had federal police go into a state without their permission and, kidnap people, which, I don't agree with what BLM / Antifa / Marxists were protesting for, but I don't think the federal government gets to decide, when they can go in with militarized police, rocking gear and night vision and fully automatic firearms.
In fucking unmarked vans, jumping out, grabbing people they deem high-level suspects and throwing in the van and driving away.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the fact that there wasn't an immediately very strong layer of gunfire that stopped that vehicle says something about the other shit we've been talking about. Holy shit, you let your people get taken away? Some people just jumped out of a van, threw your buddy in a fucking car, and drove away, and nothing happened? You can't even defend yourself. You can't defend your friend. You can't defend yourself. You've just been fucking lucky enough to have not been pulled away yet.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that fucking Seattle place? Like a stupidly
Chaz.
Chaz, yeah. That was dumb as shit. Fucking murders going on everywhere, and no one could fucking control themselves. No one could control the people that they said they would protect. Hey, this is a fucking, no police in here, check your white pride check your white privilege, fucking people dying and all kinds of crazy horse shit. You can't even protect yourselves. When are people going to wake up and realize they need to protect themselves? And if they can't protect themselves, they can't protect other people. If you can't stop the government from grabbing your buddy, throwing him in a van, and you never hearing from them again, how the fuck are you going to do anything? Because if you speak loud enough, you will be the next one in that fucking van. I don't know, how does this not hit people?
Netflix.
What level of fucking... no, because even if you're on meth, fucking meth heads are better than y'all. If you're on meth, you're probably paranoid.
Yeah.
You're paranoid enough to know, holy shit, I'm not safe. I'm not safe from anybody. I'm gonna watch my steps. I'm gonna fucking brush the leaves up after I've walked over them. Nothing. You are fucking incapable. You stand around in your fucking happy middle of nowhere or middle of everywhere society and say, oh, we want to change. But you've spoken too loud already. Someone is coming for you. You will get fucked up by people whose names you will never hear. And there's nothing you can do about it because you threw your rights away somewhere. And the fucking people who selected the president will never be heard of. Your vote matters. Well, your vote doesn't even matter. Because in the society you made that stood outside of U.S. government, Chaz, you had your own leadership. You had your own quote-unquote border patrol. Well, the fucking people whose names you don't know told somebody to go in there with a white van and pick you up. They planted child porn on your fucking computer. No one will defend you now. For all we know, I mean, honest to God, as much as I can see, evidence says otherwise. For all we know, Epstein wasn't the bad guy. Now, this is a challenge to a lot of people's views, and I'm not saying I back it. I'm saying for all we fucking know, Epstein wasn't the bad guy. For all we know, Epstein knew too fucking much. Epstein jumped one level too high. He said something out of place, and they said, we're gonna stack it against you. The whole world. Because even, look at it, left and right, everyone hates that guy. Nobody's backing him up. People are forgetting his name, but nobody's backing him up. For all we know, He said, I'm not going to stand for your shit anymore. And I'm not justifying anything he's done or anything we think he's done. Because like I said, I don't know. For all that I do know, the evidence is against him.
Maybe he got blackmail on someone that was just too high up.
Yeah, maybe he said something out of place.
Yeah.
He could have fucked something up, and they said, we're going to bury you so far, not a soul will defend you. And as I said, I'm not defending him. Honestly, if I saw him standing in front of me, I'd be the one to torture him to pieces. Because for all the evidence that I've seen, fucking hell, it'd feel good.
So, no matter who was selected, I believe it's all part of the plan. Part of me is on the accelerationist side, where, we should vote for Biden, so there is a mass gun confiscation very quickly, but at the same time, we may wake a bunch of people up. And, all of a sudden, all of our AR-15s or whatever is being confiscated by police or federal agents going door to door and grabbing all of them. On the other hand, maybe we've been programmed to think that way, and that's exactly what they want. And they want a violent, sudden uprising, and they know exactly who's going to actually do something, because everything that we know or have believed has been pre-programmed through our digital avatar that Facebook and Google have of us, that understands who we are, what moves we're going to make, and has been essentially raising us on the internet since our generation was born. Maybe this is all
their prediction algorithms are too correct to not trust, and we've done nothing but fall into them.
Yeah. So, one part of me is like, fuck it, let's kick this off and let's get it over with. The other part of me is like, maybe they know it's going to kick off. Maybe this is exactly what they want. Maybe us kicking it off will be justification for them to react so heavy-handedly that there's no other alternative but for them to establish a one-world government, to establish, a nation state of Marxists, and
see, that's a little bit of where I disagree, though, because
that's fine.
It's not that I disagree with the fact that maybe that's their plan, but it's personal.
Fair, and I agree.
It's one of those. I don't care what you're willing to die for, but what are you willing to fight for? What is that thing that will get you on your feet? What will finally make you do something? And you know what? If it's mass confiscation, even if you're on the losing fucking side, I would rather be right on the losing side than be wrong on the side that won.
I agree.
Because that's all the justification that I would need.
I'm just saying that's where my mind goes.
No, and I understand. And that can be... It can be something worth struggling over. For sure. But the other thing that's come to my mind recently is, what if I was wrong about what accelerating the problem would be? What if Trump supporters are too fucking docile? What if the right is too docile to actually stand up for what happens? Because honestly, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Maybe the best bet is to vote Trump, and then when he loses, regardless of the overarching vote that backed him up, or when he wins,
if it's even a vote,
or
because they're already threatening to pull bullshit around the election.
Yeah, I understand that, but like I'm saying, what if Trump wins? I think Trump winning might be more accelerationist than Trump losing, because if Trump loses, all the people who don't fucking work and who are willing to stage riots will be happy and they'll be docile. So if Trump wins, that's when they'll actually do something. That's when they'll fight. And them fighting is what's required for us to fight. Not us. The right. You don't stand for shit. You will sit for anything. You will watch the world toss and tumble and burn, and you will sit down and take it because you were told that that's the way you were supposed to be. That is your one fucking major fault. The left can be mildly disgruntled with anything, and they will throw bricks and Molotovs and bullets over it. So I think actually Trump winning is more accelerationist than Biden winning.
Maybe, and I'm not an accelerationist, but at the same time, I think that no matter who wins, it's all part of the plan, and if they can convince low IQ people to fight low IQ people, then half the problem sorts itself out. And they can just come in and clean up the fucking
Like, I'm trying to play 4D chess on a 3D board. Mine ain't working because I can't see the whole picture.
Because we don't know who's running the whole picture.
But the problem is the people who are playing 4D chess are playing on a 5D board, and there's someone above them. We don't even know what the fuck that is. And they're playing 5D chess on a 5D board, and that's why they always win. Because they can see the fucking picture and they can see their pieces.
And I will... One of the solid beliefs I've always had is, maintain your own. Protect your friends and family. Protect people whose ideologies you agree with. Start your fucking farm. And just create an unknown nation state that no one hears about because you don't broadcast yourselves, and just go as off-grid as you can. You'll probably get Waco'd, or your children will get Waco'd. And that's the problem I'm struggling with, is I don't know where the point is where the people who were just trying to live on their own and provide for their family stack up against the world's largest fucking criminal organization, which is the United States. I don't know when that
United
point
States government.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time deciding it's time for all of us to actually do something and just take care of what you can take care of as an individual. Because there's pros and cons to both. There's morality to both.
Yeah, like, I would hate to be the people that what's-his-name fucked up and we bombed. Because no one stood up to them. And they got no recompense. Nothing was given to them. No one gave a shit except for their village, and their village won't do shit in the long run.
Yeah, so they can't.
Yeah, it's an unwinnable fight. If they do try to stand up, they're all fucking dead. And they might have been fighting for what's right, but it ain't gonna fucking get anyone anywhere.
Yeah.
And people say, we're not like that. We're different. This is fucking America. It's totally... Yeah, there's somewhere between what we used to be and them, and there's a point in between that you've got to make some big decisions. Because you don't know when you're gonna wake up and be that fucking village in Afghanistan. You don't know when... I mean, fucking Atlanta became that village in Afghanistan. Not long ago. Yeah. The fucking city was on fire. They were fucking attacking. I mean, I'd give them a high five, but they're probably still fighting for the wrong reasons. Burning fucking CNN, all the shit that happened in Atlanta during the major part of those riots and stuff. Nobody was there for anybody. No one helped anyone worthwhile. Nothing good came of that situation whatsoever. There was no justice served. And 4 precincts in Atlanta were shut down. We are somewhere between what is good and what is bad. And somewhere between what is good and what is bad was time to stand up. Afghanistan, they missed their fucking period. Yeah. It is too late for any of them to fight because they will simply be shut down.
And I think that point is going to be it's going to have to be something that people have to decide for themselves and between God. Because I don't think that any one man has that answer completely. I think a lot of it's a leap of faith. And I think, some people will be right for going, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this. I just want to take care of what's my own. And other people will be right for saying, you know what, this is something I'm actually willing to go to the end of the earth to even if it's a failure. I don't think that either side can be held to blame. I think we can persuade one way or the other, but I think there is enough good on both of those spectrums to say, you know what, that is a personal decision. America was founded on individualism and individual ideas. It's hard to blame either side. Even in the long run, even if you just taking care of your own, if you do it out of an educated, as unbiased as you can be, like, I understand that I was indoctrinated from education. I understand that all the generations before me have eroded away my rights as a human. Understanding all that, making an educated decision, you know what, I'm going to actually do something, or I'm going to provide for my own, not in a financial way, but like long-term sustainability kind of way, because, you know, you being a cop on a force that murders innocent people all the fucking time and continuing to do that job because it pays for your family, I don't think that's righteous at all. But
talking about you, Marilyn.
Yeah. Duncan Limp. I don't think that's righteous at all. But there are a lot of cases where backing away from all of it, you know, starting your family farm, or, you know, moving to a job that provides financial security and providing for your family, and teaching them and educating them in the ways of the world, and letting them understand, like, hey, the world outside of this land is on fire because people are trying to take away your God, your way of life, your morality. I don't think I could hold someone who intelligently made that decision to blame for anything that happens outside of that. However, I will critique them if they make that decision because of unintelligent reasons.
And that's the problem.
Most people don't make intelligent decisions.
Everyone is too focused on themselves,
yes,
and their offspring, which, don't get me wrong, please be focused on yourself and your offspring. But how can you not contemplate society as a whole in the process? Like, the fucking environment you bring your children up in is going to say a lot about them. It is going to affect them greatly. The generations before us fucked up heavily. They were too focused on us. It is simply not enough. They did not care about the environment we grew up in. They simply cared about us. You can't give me a better life without creating a better place for that life. Or attempting to. And better is totally... Better is up to comprehension. I'm not asking for you to hand me silver and gold, okay? Like, I don't want you to give me a better life. But if you're going to teach me things, you have to teach me things that are relevant to the life that I'm living. Well, if the world changes around me and you teach me old lessons, it might not be worthwhile. You cannot teach me that my morality and my hard work will get me somewhere in this world, because I can fucking tell you it doesn't. It gets me used and abused. I can tell you time and time again that the harder I work and the greater my morality, the more used I become. The more people take advantage of my hard work and my morality because they don't have it. So if you did not create a world that inherited the morality or the hard work, you just created a singular offspring that did. His hard work or morality will mean nothing. He's going to be, like I said, used and abused. He's going to wake up every day and trust the words that came out of your mouth and say, if I just work hard and I'm honest and this and that, he is going to be buried by the people who weren't. Because they don't give a shit about his hard work and his morality. Because they can use that to their benefit without having to put in those things. Do not train the next generation for the world you lived in. Train them for the world they might inherit. Train them for the world. Not even the world they might inherit, because I can't tell you which one they're going to. Train them for the world. Tell them everything is going to suck. Literally, everything after this point is going to be fucking difficult, and you are going to fight and claw and die for every fucking inch of everything that you gain. And it won't be easy. And you're going to figure some shit out along the way that I can't teach you words. You've got to let your fucking next generation understand that. Because all the problem with this generation is we were all taught, you gotta be respectful, you gotta be honest, hardworking, this or that. It hasn't gotten any of us fucking anywhere. The people who got somewhere were the fucking deceitful pieces of shit. And I can tell you that about the generation prior to us as well. Because every boss I ever had that made it somewhere, not that I deemed a good boss, but that actually, continued to progress, was a fucking piece of shit. Not because they were good. They were good at lying. They were good at using people. Fucking horseshit. Fix your shit, previous generation. This generation, fix your shit now, or else the generation after will deal with it. You cannot train them for a generation you don't exist in with old information. But I think we're running low on time.
Yeah, that was heavy. That was a lot heavier than I expected it to be.
It's been a minute since we did a podcast.
Yeah.
This is about as heavy as I was expecting.
Yeah.
Fucking angry people with no microphone to talk to for a minute, so a lot of that anger might have built up. But,
Whew. Yeah. Hopefully we don't have to edit this out.
please
Some
don't
of that.
take this as defeatist. If
not-
I can give you one message, please don't take this as defeatist. This isn't me voicing things because I think we've lost and I want to bitch. These are the problems that I have faced. These are the things that I am seeing, and I want to see them fixed. Please do not look at this and become disheartened. I want people to hear, literally anyone, if this reaches one person and they can help use this for some reason, please fucking do so. Use this to make something better. Do not be your boss. Do not be your father. Do not make a better world for the generation after you by making it easier on them. That is not what I am asking. Fucking think it through. Do not be the average person. Half of everyone whose average is fucking retarded. And the other, or half of the whole population is absolutely retarded because they're dumber than that average person. Please, fucking, fix your shit. Just fucking genuinely sit down and think about yourself. Just work your way through scientific process. Analyze everything. I want you to pick yourself apart. I want you to wake up in the middle of the night sweating bullets because you're just fucking having a midlife crisis over this shit. If you understand yourself, you will be far better than the majority of people. That's what we need done. Everyone really needs to understand everything they do and why they do it. Until you do that, you will not understand anything outside of the world that you live in. Or outside of you. That's our fucking goal with this. Like I said, it just got even deeper and heavier. Every time I fucking open my mouth, it just gets worse. But that wasn't the goal. Like I said, this isn't defeatist. The goal of this is to reach people for it not to be defeatist. I want introspection. Introspection will fix these problems. Unbiased introspection. Give it a go.
Yeah. Things have not gotten better. Substantially better. Noticeably better. Anytime there's an election, or selection, or a new law, the overall good of the human race, at least in the United States, as far as I can tell, has not gotten better because of any of those things. Do not pit your understanding or your belief of what is good and bad off of something you have no control over. That solely lies with you. And if doing what is right I'm trying to word this without saying go kill your local pedophile.
Do not let what is right make you feel ostracized. If what is right ostracizes you, take pride and joy in it. If what is right sets you apart but makes you feel alone, please understand that there are people out there who wish they had the strength you did to do what was right. And I am one of them. I am one of them who attempts to do what is right regardless of ostracization. I will hold you above others. And even above that, God will hold you higher. You will have done what is right in the eyes of all that is important. Do not feel ostracized. Stand strong when people put you to the test.
And
let the test be of them, not of you.
And that's not even in a radical light. Like, don't lie to this person when you're trying to sell them a car.
Do not convince people to support your fucking charity, but lie to them about what it's about. Do not deceive them that, oh, this is a community charity, and then it be for what it was for, which sadly I can't get into.
Yeah. Introspection, understand yourself, for the love of God, no one does anymore. Everyone just takes it day by day and just goes with the flow, and that's not working. This is what taking it day by day looks like.
The natural flow of the human being is evil. Please do not go with the flow.
Yeah. Given the choice between right and wrong, you will likely choose wrong. There's not a hard statistic on that, but I'm going to say 70% of the time you choose wrong.
Man is inherently evil and selfish.
No, evil is taught, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. That's some postmodern bullshit. You, yes, listener, you are inherently evil. I'm inherently evil.
We are inherently, because I don't want to ostracize you for that. We, as a human species, are inherently evil. We are selfish. We will do for us before others. I will gain at the cost of you if I do not make the right decision. Do what is right.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You have a fucking conscience. Stop using your conscience to benefit you.
And
If you do what is right, you will likely be ostracized. You will likely be put in tough situations. Stop avoiding tough situations. Stop virtue signaling. Stop doing things because people will look at you in a good light. Okay? The hard thing doesn't gain you honor in the light of others. The hard thing gains you honor in the light of you.
can't put a price on living with yourself.
I'll have to say, that was one of the best classes I've ever been to. There are messages in that class that I cannot not speak for.
Yeah.
You might do what is required to live, but remember, you've got to be able to live with yourself afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think on this deep, dark note, we're gonna have to call this one tonight
Yeah.
because I might be feeling a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Lightweight.
Lightweight.
Yeah. Y'all haven't been a part of this because we haven't been doing podcasts, but I stopped drinking for like a whole last month, and then I decided I'm only gonna be drinking on the weekends, and this is the weekend, Friday, boys, and holy shit, my liver has no idea what to do about it. So.
Guys, coming this election cycle, please think for yourself. Do anything you can to get ammunition, night vision, whatever the fuck you can get your hands on that will increase your tactical advantage, because this is, no matter which way this goes, it's not going to be fucking pretty.
Yeah,
Like-
you stole the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say tactical advantage is what's important.
Always be improving your fighting position and use every technical and tactical advantage to defeat the enemy. Even if that means, oh, I'm in Metro Atlanta, I'm in Metro Seattle. During the election time, you do not need to be there. You need to bring your family to somewhere way the fuck out of there, because the potential for some serious shit going down is too high to risk your shitty 9-to-5 job.
If you have fucking relatives,
Get them to your place. Get them out of
or
there.
get to their place.
Either way, you do not need to fucking be there in November.
If someone gives a shit about you and they are in a safer place than you are, you need to be at the safer place.
And you need to be there with your preps.
Yeah.
Because
Don't fucking go there on holiday. Don't go there with a 6-pack and say everything will be good.
go there with the intent of, I'm not saying that you're never going to go back there. Go there with the intent of, I am never going to go home again.
Go there with a case of liquor and all of your prep.
All of your ammo and fucking everything, because you don't know. Your house may get burned down in a riot. It may not even be an end of the world situation, but your house may get burned down by a riot, and that's it. And if the gun community never regains its traction, there goes all your ammo. It's just burned up. This is not the time to be playing games anymore. You need to seriously think about this election and COVID and gun confiscation and the BLM riots and the Antifa takeover of Seattle as nation-ending events. The catalyst into the collapse. Not something I wanted to see in my lifetime, but you need to start thinking about things as if this was it. And this is one of those things. You need to get out of Dodge if you're in a major metropolitan area, and you need to bring any assets that you have for long-term survivability with you, in case it does. It's like getting out of a hurricane zone.
Yeah.
Think about every city capital turning into a hurricane.
Because if you live in Florida or any of those fucking Gulf Coast areas, you have a hurricane fund, okay? People joke about it when you don't live in that area, but if you live in that area, you understand. You have a hurricane fund. You have a literal rainy day fund.
You don't
Rainy
have,
day high wind flooding fund.
You don't have an ammo fund.
So if you don't live in one of those areas, but you live in a decently sized metropolitan area, and you don't have a quote-unquote rainy day fund, you are fucked.
Yeah.
Because, you know what? Sure. I can't say go ahead and buy gold, okay? I don't know what's going to fucking survive this.
Don't buy gold.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what's going to survive this.
Beans, bullets, and band-aids. That is... First off, any of you people that buy fucking gold, I'm sorry, that gold will be useful for your children. Maybe.
Yeah,
Because-
they might get to use it when currency comes back.
It takes roughly 45 years for hard currencies to be established. Up until that point, it's usually trade. In which case, you can go to fucking hell with your gold. It is absolutely, if we're in a beans, bullets, and band-aid situation where I give you bullets, you give me beans so I can feed my family, your hunk of worthless scrap metal is worthless to me.
It's
I do
pretty-
not care.
It's pretty, but I can't guarantee the other guy. Say I bought band-aids from you with beans. I can't guarantee that the guy who's got bullets is going to take your lump of gold as currency because it might not mean shit to him. He might want beans or band-aids.
Yeah.
So
Don't invest in gold.
if you're going to invest in something useful, not something that has historically held worth.
And if you have, obviously, if you have extra income, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, if you're playing around with fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars, do whatever.
We're a bunch of poors. Like, invest in the stock market if you think it's a valuable thing, but understand the reality to that. I don't foresee. Like, gold is one of those weird ones for preppers. It's just oh yeah, I'm gonna invest in gold. It's a long term. No, it's not. The only long term preparation is food that can last 20 years, medical supplies that antibiotics and drugs and all that shit that can last long term, and bullets. That's literally it.
Honest to God, like it sounds very war driven, but bullets is the best of the all of them. If you have arms, you can take beans and band-aids from people.
Which
So
morally,
I'm not saying take beans and band-aids from people, but I'm saying there are people who are willing to pay you to get your bullets so they can take beans and band-aids from people. Arms, for the entirety of humanity, have been the driving point of society.
Yeah, fair.
Do not invest in gold because no one is shooting. Do not invest in silver because no one is shooting vampires. Okay, they're shooting people, not vampires. Werewolves?
Werewolf.
No one is shooting werewolves. They're shooting people. Okay.
The three precious metals: brass, lead, and copper.
Jesus, that hits me where I live.
But yeah, tactically, the best fight is the fight you never have to fight. You never lose a fight you're not in.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of metropolitan areas.
And like we're saying, we're not saying fucking buy a house somewhere. We're saying literally leave during dangerous periods.
Go to
That's like
take
you
your
don't
family-
walk the streets at night in a rough area.
take your family on a weird vacation to, like, there's plenty of non-metropolitan, quote-unquote metropolitan cities that are like, I'm not expecting BLM to burn down Gatlinburg. Like,
Yeah,
take your family to Gatlinburg for a vacation. Go to fucking Dollywood. Like,
but
no one's gonna
since,
hit these.
since we literally just mentioned those two, don't go to them.
Yeah,
Not that we have a following enough for that to matter, but
yeah.
you get what we're getting at.
What
We're saying is like
go to the
we're
rank.
not saying buy a place. We're not saying like fucking get out. We're saying leave the area that you're in if it's fucking high population. I'm not saying move. I'm not saying invest a shit ton of money. I'm saying don't go to the rough part of town in the middle of the night.
Just get out of the area until you can reevaluate the situation in that specific area where your home is.
Yeah. It's as simple as that. And like literally, news, fucking nobody gives a shit about presidential election. Go for the fuck home.
Yeah, just
You took a 3-day vacation.
do what you have to do to protect you and your own.
Yeah, I think we
Until-
let this one run pretty fucking long, but I think you get the point.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be restated.
But yeah, guys, this is the Refounding Fathers. Remember, what was our sign out?
Oh, dude, Jesus Christ.
Oof.
This is the
It
worst
was-
ending to a video. I'm gonna have to cut all this.
They'll understand. They know us by this.
I'm soberer than I used to be,
They know us by this.
so I don't remember this. Push the fight, pray for freedom.
Yep, that was it.
Was that it? Was there another part?
No, that was it.
Okay. Push the fight, pray for freedom.
Question everything until you question what you should, but also question yourself.
Yeah.
For the love of
Questioning
God.
yourself is questioning what you should. Alright, push the fight, pray for freedom. We're out of here.
All right, this is Refounding Fathers signing out.